Hey everybody, this week James was thinking he wouldn't be able to be on the podcast because he was traveling to pick his kids up from the airport, but it had been a while since we all four podcasted together and we really wanted to, so we told him to go ahead and call in from the car and I would just use the straight audio feed from the video recording to make the podcast and not to worry about it. Unfortunately, the audio levels were off and that's my fault. From looking at the audio meters while we were recording, I thought there was a little bit of a gap that I could fix with compression later, but my voice ended up being way louder than I wanted it to be, and I only had it recorded as a mono audio track because it's just a backup, and that's my fault. So I need to record it as multiple audio tracks. I used to do that back when we podcasted regularly. I've just been lazy with the relaunch of the podcast. So I compressed the crap out of everything, and I am sorry because this week it does not sound as good as I normally try to make the podcast sound. So apologies in advance for both how our voices sound kind of smushed and how I'm louder than I should be. So hopefully you still enjoy the episode, and see you next time. Yeah, for everybody, if the audio sounds a little bit different, that is because we wanted to make it so we could all be on tonight, and that meant that James is joining us from the car. Hi, James.
What's up, everybody?
Yeah, we're technically live.
Okay.
We're warming up.
You missed that part.
No, I said it.
Yeah, he definitely said it.
Wow.
Sorry,
Somebody
Dave.
could make some coffee.
You really did? Did you burn your brain on those dumplings?
Today burned my brain. I am fizzled out.
That's a good burn. Yeah, today was kind of a crappy day at work, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, so anyway, I'm just pulling the direct feed off our live stream, and that's what I'm going to use for the podcast tonight, so everyone doesn't have to record their mic feed. So if it sounds a little bad, that's why. If you can't tell the difference, well, I've been wasting my time for nothing all these years.
Everyone, please write into casualshenanigans@gmail.com and let Jeremiah know that no one noticed.
So Joel, I'm going to send you a link to a song after this. I heard it on my, like your release radar or Discover Weekly on Spotify. And I was like, oh, that's just kind of a groovy song. And I saved it on one of my playlists and I was listening to it this week. I was like, wait, it's a song called Big Boy. And it's a guy literally just singing about like, he's just a big boy. He just doesn't fit places.
You were like, man, this just hits really close.
It's like it just calls to me.
Is this my origin story?
I'm just a little guy.
Big boy and little guy. I want to see that movie.
Is that going to be our podcast, Joel?
Big boy and little guy.
People are going to tune in thinking that's a very different show than it actually is.
I mean, I feel like we kind of did that already with Fat Man and Little Boy, but whatever.
The Angry Gamer, probably not any God of War talk tonight, unless Joel, have you been playing the new God of War?
The only thing I've done is buy it.
I haven't played it yet either. I haven't even bought it.
I can't wait. I really am excited to play it.
Life.
We'll get into that. And what are you not playing this week?
That's gonna be the name of our section for too long. For sure.
Joel, are you going to talk about what you've been working on?
What's that?
Are you going to talk about what you've been working on
Yeah.
without naming
I don't know.
towns or whatever?
Yeah, sure.
Cool.
Which thing? Are we talking about the new documentary you're making about your recent adventure?
Yeah. Have we started the podcast or are we just...
Yeah, we're warming up. Yeah.
All right. Well, because I can just save it for my 90 seconds.
Oh, you got to save it. See, that's what we do. We tease at the top. We do a little tease at the top. Joel has a new project. A new project he's going to announce later that's definitely worth waiting for.
I don't know what I have, but all I had was tease at the top, explore in the bottom.
Whoa!
I did the second half of that. What was that second half?
Tease at the top, explore in the bottom.
Like I was thinking, explore the top. It didn't work well.
Shane, Ultra Grunt as podcast historian. When you hear that, would you please add that to the bot? Thank you. Oh man. So James, why are you in the car tonight? Are you able to tell us why?
I'm just driving to the airport to pick up my kids.
Nice. Well, for doing the podcast from the car over a cell phone, that doesn't sound that bad.
We're getting an occasional robo voice, but only occasional.
Yeah.
Dave, your voice or your name in here is Ranger Rat. Did I miss that? Was that last podcast?
No, that came from oh, you would hate this, Joel. The end of the Hunt Showdown event, the snake moon.
I knew it was going to be the hunt.
Yeah. Because I went on vacation for over a week, I was behind on finishing the event, and I'd already paid for the battle pass, so there was no way I was not going to finish it. So before vacation, I stayed up the last couple of nights before vacation playing solos on my own because other people weren't available to play, and I got event points to finish the event by loading into trio matches, so big teams of 3. I would sneak around with a silencer gathering snakes while everyone else fought, and then I would stick a stamina shot so I had full running speed, and in the 5 minutes left, when all the bounties had left the server before the server shut down, I zoomed around and looted all the bodies for all the extra snakes and points, and then zoomed to the extract. I did this for like 20 some hours probably over the course of the
Dave! Dave!
I ended up naming myself Ranger Rat for a while.
All right, you did 20 hours of that just during the event?
Yeah, now, it wasn't all ratting around. Like, I mean, yeah, it was ratting around, but it wasn't always just hiding. I actually got into some hilarious fights. My absolute favorite fight, though, was on the very last night of the event. I ran into another solo player doing the exact same thing that I was doing, and we had this half-second, like, oh! Because you had to take the snakes that you had captured to the little altars, which are in the boss lair. It was a single bounty match. The entire server had been fighting for like 30 minutes, and then finally you heard everybody like shooting the zombies, the one winning team heading to extract, right? So I'm like, okay, everyone's gone. I can loot all the bodies, burn the snakes, it's good. And I step out into the dirt road that leads down into the compound, right as a guy steps out from the other side, and we just had a look across each other. We just froze. And then the bullet started flying, and I barely won the fight. Took all his snakes, burned them. But he was doing the exact same thing. Solo player, 5 stars like me, hiding in the back of the map.
So you did like that for like 20 hours during the battle pass. I have 7.8 hours of hunt total.
So what's funny too is I actually it really helped my map movement and like learning the compounds doing that. I actually ended up really enjoying playing solo, even though it just started out just being me playing as a rat to get the event points. I actually it helped my aim, my map movement and knowledge, and then also some of the bigger fights I got into where I would actually wipe a duo on my own. I got really good at like finishing fights because you're outnumbered. Like you have to push your advantage when you're playing as a solo. It's a very different game. I actually came to really enjoy it, but it started out with me playing like a rat.
I'm actually really good at finishing fights. I mean, I don't win, but I finish.
But you make it to the ground every time.
They're done. They're over.
James is I'm really sorry in advance, the Space Shuttle Challenger of Hunt Showdown.
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. All right, you guys want to do this?
Let's do it.
All right, what's up, you filthy casuals? Welcome to the Casual Shenanigans Gaming Podcast, a podcast all about the irreverent love of gaming. I'm one of your hosts, Jeremiah. Tonight, I am joined by Joel.
What's up?
Papa James.
What's up?
And the Ranger.
That's me.
Dave, I told you last time, if you go back and listen to the podcast, all you had to do was ask me not to do it before the podcast, and I wouldn't.
I remember now when it was seconds before it happened.
I mean,
it's too late.
When you learn this lesson, old man, that's all I have to tell you.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
That wasn't your best stuff.
No.
One more time.
The Ranger. I don't know what that sounds like over the recording. I'm going to be honest.
I mean, it's kind of like it's peaking a little bit on my.
Yeah, that actually cut your mic out.
Oh, really?
So bad.
Oh, that stinks. Yeah. Okay, well, I have the native recording on my end, so that's all that matters.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah.
Yeah, good. Okay. Well, tonight, I feel like for the main topic, we probably ought to hop right into what are we playing this week, because we all put the same game, except for James, put the same game on our what are we playing this week. So let's start with talking about Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. Now, this is Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 parentheses 2022, not Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 parentheses 2009. If they continue with this, I wonder, are they going to relaunch Black Ops and Black Ops 2 and just have the whole series like tracking along with...
Oh, I hope not. This is so confusing already.
It's like how Apple names iPads. Yeah, Modern Warfare 2. Who wants to go first? What do you guys think of it so far? As of recording, the DMZ I think thing just launched, right? And Warzone also just launched. So I'm guessing none of us.
Yesterday.
None of us.
Had a rough launch too. So
yeah, so none of us have played the new Warzone, right?
I have.
Okay.
How'd you get the game, Dave?
It came out yesterday.
Oh, Warzone. Sorry.
Warzone and
He has the regular game too. He bought it.
no, I got a review key. That's why my copy's.
I was like, Dave did not buy that game.
No, that's why my review copy is also on the Blizzard launcher and not Steam. I'm the only one left over on the Battle.net launcher.
Oh no, I'm on Battle.net.
Are you?
I didn't realize I could buy it on Steam, so yep, I bought it on Battle.net.
One of us, yeah. Yeah, I played Warzone and is it DMZ? Is that?
That's the Tarkov mode, yeah.
Okay, cool.
I've only played the campaign right now.
Oh, you haven't even played multiplayer? Well, let's start with the campaign, if that's all right. Because Dave, have you played campaign at all?
I have not. Carry on.
Okay, Joel, I am. Dave, did you finish the first campaign?
No, I have not.
Okay.
So doesn't worry, he won't finish the second one. So
okay,
we can just.
Yeah, I didn't see the point of diving into the second one without completing the first one. Especially seeing the reviews were kind of.
Dave's still finishing a few quest lines in The Witcher, so.
And Alien Isolation, don't forget. But but yeah, the campaign. So I'm only about halfway through, Joel. So I don't really care a ton about spoilers. But for the sake of everyone listening, maybe no spoilers. But how far in are you?
I honestly don't really know, because I haven't really gone back to the mission select. I've just had it I played and then I put the PS5 into pause mode kind of thing. So I'm I really don't know. I've done a really cool sniper mission, and I'm oh no, I've done some driving section where I'm catching up to some bad guy, and that's the latest. Have you done that one?
That's kind of vague, so I'm not really sure.
You actually drive a car. You would know that you haven't gotten to that point.
Okay, yeah, I guess I haven't done that yet. But so far, I'm enjoying it. I don't know, is it as amazing as the 2019 campaign? But I think it's still head and shoulders above most Call of Duty campaigns from the last 10 years. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'm enjoying it a lot. It feels just a tad buggier, the campaign wise, than the last. I think Modern Warfare 2019 felt a little bit more close quarter stuff. I don't really remember that many big areas, and so this one has a few more bigger areas in it. The missions, which has actually been really, really fun, but you can kind of tell it's just not quite as it's not quite as polished as the 2019, where it just felt dead on every second, at least for the campaign. I'm still really enjoying it. If I had to do a review so far, it was the other one was a 10. I love the campaign. It was so much fun. This one I would be able to give it a solid 9.
Okay.
It's not to me, it's not perfect, but it's really, really good.
Yeah, I'm definitely enjoying it. Now for multiplayer. So Joel, you have not played multiplayer. Dave, you have?
I have.
And James, you have not played multiplayer. Is that right?
Nope. I'm downloading Warzone.
Okay.
As we speak.
So, Dave, the thing I'm most impressed by multiplayer, and we were talking about this online the other night, I feel the skill-based matchmaking, while everyone likes to rail against it and how frustrating that is, which it can be at times when you can tell you've moved up a rung, I feel this is the best matchmaking of any Call of Duty game I've played in a really long time.
And
I would take my 3 hours of experience and agree.
Well, every match is close, Joel. If we play, sometimes you get do you know much about the multiplayer modes in Modern Warfare? The first one?
No, not really. No.
Okay. So there's ones like Hard Point where you're running around getting points for being on a point type thing, and those are always close. Team Deathmatch is always close. Everything that's not an absolute stomping, if one team is just way better for some reason. Yeah. I feel it always comes down to the last 30 seconds or something. However they're doing matchmaking, it could just be luck, but a number of other people have mentioned the same thing that we're playing with, where it feels every game comes down to the wire. So yeah,
that's awesome.
Whatever they did, they seem like they've improved it. Or the next patch will start ruining things. It still is the typical call.
Which mode is this? Are you playing right now? In
regular multiplayer. So it's Hard Point, Team Deathmatch. Just cycling between them.
The weapon handling in this one feels really good.
Oh, it does. They feel punchy.
I remember 2019 feeling really good, but this one feels I don't even know how to describe it, but it feels better.
These are the first.
I don't know what it is, but
yeah, shooting these handguns actually sounds and feels like shooting a handgun, where most games tone them down so much, because they're the smaller weapons. But Dave, would you agree? Like, I think the handguns in this, like, they kick.
Yeah, I hadn't noticed like in particular, but everything sounds good. And they're iterating off of a really, really solid game, so I think the only way to go was up.
Yeah, and they've probably based it off a lot of the code of that really solid game, because I noticed that the menu does the thing where, like, it slows down to 5 FPS a lot of the time for no reason, like if you're trying to jump in and out of weapon menus. Or Dave was frustrated the other night because he was trying to change something on his weapon, and every time matchmaking did... Oh. What happened, Dave?
This is probably one of the most rage-inducing user experience issues I've ever seen in a game, and it's been like this since the first game. If you're in a large multiplayer lobby and you're like customizing a gun, every time that the party leader changes something with the matchmaking, like starts to search for a game mode, changes the game mode, the matchmaking finds a server, if anything happens, it rips you back to the lobby screen out of whatever you're doing. Every time something happens with the lobby.
Yep.
That's
Between rounds, all I was trying to do was add a scope to my G3 rifle, and it took 7 tries. Click, 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 customize, click, click, scroll, scroll, back to the menu. Click, 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 back to the menu. It hurt real bad.
Yeah, and then it does the thing where you load into the game and it's like, oh, update installed. We have to restart the game. So you restart the game and it's like optimizing shaders. You can play, but you're going to want to wait and optimize those shaders. If you play without optimizing those shaders,
you're going to want to optimize those.
You're going to have a bad time. So then you sit for another 4 or 5 minutes while your friends wait for you before you can hop in. Because you can't hop into like matchmaking while it optimizes the shaders. You have to wait out on the main menu like a scrub. So yeah, it feels like a lot of the bad code from 2019's Modern Warfare is still around, but it feels like everything else is as good or better. It's a very pretty game too, I noticed, which makes sense. Yeah.
No, sorry, I cut it. I was just gonna say I did get to the mission in the trailer where all those like you're like on some like ship and all the cargo boxes are moving
sliding around. Yeah,
that was really cool. That was much more interesting than I was expecting. I was kind of expecting like just the back and forth like movement of the ship, like they just slide left to right and that was kind of thing. But no, it's like more like real physics just all over the place. And boxes are coming from every direction, from behind you and everything. Like, it was way harder than I expected. Like, I died many times on that, where you're just like trying to shoot someone and then you're like, crunch, and you just get smashed. It was a really unique like level I haven't played before, so I was like, that was fun.
Yeah, that's cool.
Because you're like trying to like scope, you're like looking around for the because like you hear it and then like they'll hit you and you'll get like a little warning like and the controller will kind of vibrate a little bit and you're like I'm like, okay, that's just a small box, I'll be all right. And then I just get slammed by 2 huge ones left and right.
Joel, will you play multiplayer with us because you can do crossplay?
Yeah, definitely. I'm definitely down.
Sweet. For Warzone specifically, like, or Warzone or DMZ mode. So, Dave, you have played Warzone, is that right?
And DMZ too. Yep.
Okay. I guess tell us about those a little bit.
I mentioned visuals first because now that you guys talked about some of the cool stuff that I haven't seen from single player, I'll mention some hits and misses that I've seen. I did some co-op with Edgar, and in the co-op maps, which are really, really huge, like they were going for that Arma-esque experience where like you're traveling a whole bunch. In some cases, the map design and this maybe just this engine, this has a hard time creating, I think, convincing large-scale terrains. It still feels like you're in a piece of a Half-Life map sometimes.
Yeah, I agree.
How this game just treats terrains, just in comparison to some larger games like Arma, just for example, like the terrain's just not as convincing on a large scale. But having said that, the new Warzone map looks really convincing. Whereas
it's a fully new map. I thought it was the same one, just with like
no,
slightly updated graphics. Wow, that's exciting.
Completely new, and as cool as it was to have, the original Warzone map was like all the classic maps like stuck together. It looked like a GTA map, like it's like a theme park map basically.
Yeah.
This new one from the air, especially, like it looks like you're paratrooping over like a detailed Arma map or something. Like the terrain's really convincing in Warzone. It just threw me off because the co-op maps, like I said, weren't that great looking, just as a whole. But Warzone looks really, really good. Awesome points of interest. We only played one round though because really rocky launch last night. Servers were struggling, download servers were struggling, lobbies couldn't fill. It's 150 players now because the map is bigger.
Oh, good grief.
And the first few times we tried to matchmake, the game was trying to fill exactly 150 players before the game would launch. And we went through a couple of lobbies where we sat there for like 15 minutes, like watching the player count almost hit 150 before everyone starts to get ADD and exit. And then you'd have to just exit and try again. They flipped a switch at some point, and then we ended up in a Warzone match that was like 60 players instead. So it was like the opposite problem, and it was really quiet. Had a couple fun fights, but it was just, like I said, kind of empty.
Yeah.
But the map looked awesome, and I do want to play a bit more.
Bigger than the last one.
Significantly bigger. Yeah.
Wow.
I haven't played the original map in so long. Me and my brothers really just play Rebirth Island. Like every time they have another new map, we try it and then we go back to Rebirth, and we only drop into one place on Rebirth. We don't even mark it anymore. Like if a random person gets assigned to us, like they can go off on their own and do whatever they want. We land in one place and we have our exact route that we go. Last weekend we played. We only had time for 2 matches. We played twice, won twice. And we were like,
oh, there you go.
We have to quit immediately. Like this is never going to happen again.
There's a couple.
Retired.
There's a few other changes too, like in almost all cases, the Gulag is duos now.
Really?
Which is interesting. Ooh. Either with a teammate.
So you can be really mad at a friend for failing to get you out.
Or another random teammate. I laughed so hard because my only Gulag match last night was with some random guy who he loads in, and this guy is dolphin diving, he's flipping guns, he's checking corners, he's bouncing around, he's throwing smokes, he's hopping, and he got shot in the face and was dead. Like, I laughed so hard. He was doing like all this MLG movement stuff and weapon switching, and then just died immediately. Totally useless.
See, that's just me, but you think I'm doing things, but I'm just trying to like, how do I get my gun out?
You've actually dropped the controller, like trying to get it from underneath the couch.
I'm like fumbling it over, you know.
So that's an interesting change.
Everybody's trying to grab the controller at some point.
Have you guys ever seen those like funny videos of like, they're like, so I was supposed to have date night with my wife, and then it's like he like goes to give a hug, but then he like slips on a pencil and it goes to like a slow motion, like, and I'll be there, and like he falls, but then his like foot kicks the controller and it like flies up, hits him in the face. He happens to grab it, like another thing hits the PS5 like to turn on, and he like falls into the seat with like the headphones landing. He's like, oh, I guess I'm playing games now. He's like, whoa, whoops, my bad.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll segue into the DMZ talk by saying that I want to play more of Warzone just to check out the map, because the map is, I think, my favorite part so far. I had said before the game came out that I don't know how much I have left in me for the Battle Royale formula, the closing circle, after getting so hooked on Hunt this year and playing a little bit of Tarkov also this year. The gameplay loop of extraction shooters is just so much faster. And there's like a little bit of permanence to it, right? You know, you go in with a loadout and you're trying to extract with some more loot. The whole gameplay loop of Warzone being you're starting from nothing every time, you're looting weapons that's just for that round. There's just a lot of downtime in that mode.
Really? Because I feel in comparison to like Hunt, I feel maybe we just play differently, because I feel I've got way more fast moving stuff. Now, I mostly play Rebirth, which is part of it because you die a lot.
Yeah.
You come back a lot. But like, I feel like the last couple circles, getting a perfect strategy together and figuring out how to like work with what you've got. I don't know. I really enjoy that. But again, that might be part of the difference is you're not playing this massive, slower moving map where you get knocked out quicker.
Yeah, I mean, and it may grow on me for a bit. Again, we'll see. It's just that you know, what's the average Warzone match like on the 100-player version for 1.0? It was what, like, if you last till the end, that's like 45 minutes, isn't it?
It could be up to that. Yeah, if it was like a slower moving set. Yeah.
So now
like
we have more players and a bigger map.
Battlefield game.
Sorry, Joel.
So like an average short Battlefield game.
Well, a lot of that's just matchmaking. So trying to find a server with anybody in it.
The looting in Battle Royales, it's just, it feels so pointless. Like it's just for that round. It's just you're looting the same things every time.
I don't know. By comparison, I feel like Hunt is like, oh, would you like to buy a card, get all do your loadout, spend 5 minutes getting all this stuff ready. Oh, they're dead. All right, make a new person. All right, grab your snakes, crawl around the snakes. Okay, so we're banishing the witch from over here. Okay, like I feel like Hunt is adding too many different things where I'm always confused. Granted, I've only played like 8 hours, but normally doesn't take 8 hours. And every time I'm like, wait,
Dave's face right now, he like wants to choke you out.
Well, so Dave offered to have.
I can't help him.
He offered. No, I've played with you when you've brought me in. I've played with you. I've had a good time. We're talking about gameplay loops, right? Like Warzone,
Yeah.
you know, the battle royale loop. You're not sure that really works for you, but I really enjoy the faster pace. Like get into the fight, die, get back into the fight setup. And then for the Hunt, it's too many different tasks that are really just shuttling you around to get into fights with people, but the tasks don't make the fights funner. I don't know. To me, there's just that disconnect there of like, it can have good gunplay and good interactions with people. And I would rather have interactions in Hunt than like DayZ, just because you can spend way more time doing absolutely nothing.
Speaking of long gameplay loops.
Right. But so I think it's just, it's kind of a what clicks for you or what doesn't. With Hunt, I feel like a little more just nudging you along to what you're supposed to be doing. Like if they just polished that side of the gameplay, I think I would probably enjoy it more.
Well, you also you only played a little bit before a huge event started, which added a whole bunch on top for players who had seen it all and done it all.
Yeah.
So that added to a lot of your confusion, I think, is because it was supposed to be a whole bunch of new side gameplay loop to keep people interested who had been there and done that.
Yeah, that's fair. And also it probably helps with Call of Duty, something that we hadn't really touched on, and I guess everyone already knows this, but the gunplay in Call of Duty is still second to none. Like for speed and fluidity and everything, not realism, obviously. It's more realistic than it used to be, but like the gameplay is just so smooth in that game, and you feel like you can jump in, and it's so refreshing to be like, oh, I'm playing Call of Duty. It's a little bit like when you play...
Leap. I really like the new leap thing to leap into cover. It's pretty cool.
But like when you jump into a Halo game that's well balanced and you're like, oh, I'm playing Halo again. You know, there's just that comforting feeling of everything. I feel like Call of Duty is like that, where, I don't know, it's just smooth. You float. You just float right along.
You know, that's what you played last night.
If I could have one Christmas wish for Call of Duty, it would be like, can you just tone down that damn UI?
The UI is something else.
Like when you enter the game, it just says like, how old are you? It's like old, and it's like just strips all that crap away.
It's just like an Excel spreadsheet of the things you can click on.
Like I was just thinking, like, do you guys ever miss like the Half-Life 2 menu screen where it just says new game, continue? Yep. Like you know what I mean? Like I just go,
dude, it's all tiles. It's all tiles.
I know.
Well, every time you jump in, they're like, welcome to Toxic Nuclear Monkey Rage Weekend. And you're like, what's going on?
That was on point.
No, that's what they did. Did you play the Godzilla versus King Kong event? They did.
I was going to, and then I heard it was awful, so I skipped it.
It was very awful, Joel. You're playing Battle Royale in Call of Duty in the older Warzone on the island jungle map, and a King Kong will jump in and like throw things around and fight. I guess there's no Godzilla, it's just King Kong, and you're fighting him, but like nothing really happens. Like you can shoot him for 10 straight minutes and barely hurt him. It's like they were like, what would make the gameplay cool? And then they just throw in King Kong, totally irrelevant to everything that you're doing. You can just ignore him and go about your time, or he'll just kill you. I don't know. It didn't make any sense. Yeah, James. Or sorry, Dave. James will continue in a second. Dave, so what's the gameplay loop in DMZ for people who are not familiar? Like I've played Tarkov 2 times or something, so I don't even know how I would describe it.
It is a extraction shooter, like Hunt, Tarkov, like at its very base formula. But it is scripted and designed in a way that feels much more like a co-op game that has a chance of players showing up occasionally. And what really surprised me was how incredibly polished it was, even as glitchy as the launch was for everything last night. Like, you were talking about how smooth the gunplay was. The friends list was broken last night, so you couldn't do invites. And because the friend list was constantly pinging, everyone's game was hitching constantly. It was actually a network issue that was causing it. So everything was hitching last night. The friends list was broken. But you get into this DMZ mode, and you pick a loadout from your inventory. You can pay some money that you've looted in game to use some of your guns, like from your collection that you've unlocked yourself. So you can pay some of your in-game money to go into the mission with those, and then of course you extract with whatever you want to find in the actual mission. You go in and there's like a bunch of different objectives you can do. You can attack strong points, and the AI is super well animated. There were like guys fast roping out of helicopters. It looked like it was a single player mission all of a sudden. Like it looked so good. There were tons of stuff to do. We just ran around for like 20 some minutes just from icon to icon to see what the options were. At one point we captured a SAM site, like a huge SAM site, and it started blasting missiles at all the AI choppers that were flying around and like other players who were calling in stuff. We were shooting down their airplanes, and like it was marking where we could go steal those supplies on the map afterwards.
That's really cool.
And it like, when we first captured it and all the AI came in and swarmed us and we defended it, and we're like, okay, cool, we captured a SAM site. So what happens now? And then you heard it go like, it's like a huge Patriot missile launcher. It goes like, and you see the missile fly like 6 kilometers up into the air. You're going, I don't know what's happening, but I love it. Really, again, the only downside from playing last night was that everything was broken and we didn't even see like a sign of another player. Like it was just so dead. But there was so much fun stuff to discover with the AI that it didn't really matter for a first time playing it.
Okay, that's cool. Sweet. Well, Joel, what do you have to say?
I was listening to a sweet jam that Ben just sent me.
You're listening to music while you're on a podcast?
Anything you guys were just talking about. Absolutely nothing.
I'm so glad we're all together. I'm so glad.
All I play is a little bit of the campaign, so that's all I know.
Aren't you glad you called in for this, James?
Ben is on the live stream. Welcome, Ben. Please stop distracting Joel. So, James, what have you been playing lately?
I've been playing a lot of Battlefield 2042. No, just kidding.
I had this gear turning moment when I was trying to make that make sense.
No, it makes no sense to nobody.
What is going on with that game? Is there any?
We'll talk about it in the news.
Yeah, Joel. Don't. Why would you derail us like that?
I didn't
Do you
realize.
care, Joel?
All right, James. What are you actually playing?
I played a little bit of the Alan Wake remaster.
Oh, nice. How's that?
Oh yeah.
Still feels good. I mean, obviously it's dated as can be, but yeah, it just felt good going back in the game, talking about something just kind of like fitting again.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I love the atmosphere. Yeah, I tried playing Generation Zero with Dave and some people a few weeks ago, and ended up like running into a tree and falling asleep.
In the game?
What about that?
Yeah. They're like running up ahead. I'm like running into a tree, and I'm like asleep. Like I was literally like closing my eyes while I was running.
James fell asleep multiple times, and what? I don't know if you remember this. I mean, I guess you wouldn't, James. You disconnected after you fell asleep. Because the game levels all the enemies to your party size, we were getting beat on so bad. It's just like, oh, you've got 4 players, and James is over there standing in the forest by himself.
I like Generation Zero. I don't remember, how did the gang start playing it again? Because Dave, you and I played it over a year ago, and then it's like robots on an island, like 2 islands, and it's like a survival RPG shooter, I guess. Mm-hmm. Maybe is the best way to call it. How did people start getting into
co-op survival game? Yeah, I had a big sale.
Okay, gotcha. But yeah, it's fun. I was impressed. After it being a year and all the patches and everything, I logged back in exactly where I was with all of the gear that I had before. Everything worked fine. Like it's a really good working game, and the fights never get old. The giant robots like shooting missiles at you from far away, and you're getting these big like half-mile wide fights or quarter-mile wide fights. It's really cool. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
It is on console, Joel. If you want to try it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Also, I guess after playing Generation Zero, I decided to go back and try Fallout 76 again.
Oh no!
Since I hadn't played since they added the human NPCs.
How was it?
It's a lot more optimized. It's not great, but
Does it scratch the Fallout itch?
kind of like you have a blister on your foot kind of itch, not like
gosh.
not like a really nice scratch.
Like any of this.
That's a weird way of describing a scratch, but I'll take it. Have you been playing anything else?
No, not really. I mean, I fell asleep playing Hunt the other night too.
So you just the common theme is you falling asleep while playing with us?
Yeah, pretty much.
See, I just get tired and then go to bed too early while everyone fusses at me for being lame. So you could be like me.
I have my own version of lame. Don't worry. Drag everybody down, lame.
James, you sound like my brother when we play Elden Ring. Like Jonah would be playing, and like he'll literally like all of a sudden he'll just pause for a little, and his character's not moving. We're like Jonah, and you hear. And he just falls asleep on chat. So then it was just me and my older brother just fighting the like enemies around him, trying to keep him alive as he gets like invaded and stuff. And then eventually like wake back up. He's like, all right, what are you guys doing? Like, where do I go next? Like playing Elden Ring with them is not them exploring anything. It's literally being told exactly what to do step by step. They don't collect anything, like anything. The only thing they collect is I tell them to. So it's been kind of a fun challenge trying to get literal children through the game. It's really kind of fun. Like, so Eric's been helping me. Like, everyone will tag team to get them through the main bosses. They have to. But hearing the.
Dave, did I see that you've also been playing some Hunt?
Yeah, surprise.
Okay, so that's all. Just saying that part.
Loving it still.
Great.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's it.
Well, it is now time for the news.
News time.
All right, who's got this first news item?
I got this one. Yeah, this was a really cool like double news item. Just the cross media effect on some older games recently. Battlefield 1 hit 50,000 concurrent players about a week ago. On Steam alone. Like, who knows how many Origin had, because you still can't see Origin stats. And then when Battlefield 1 first launched, it was only available on Origin on PC. Mm-hmm. So generally, it's assumed that like the player count is 3 or 4 times higher on Origin than it is on Steam for games that are from back then. People who have pulled stuff from other games before have got that number roughly tied down. But it was a 1-2 punch of a $3 or $5 sale for Battlefield 1 and all the premium DLCs on Steam.
Oh, wow. That's pretty good.
Yeah, $5 sale. And it was the same week, I don't know if this was intentional, that Netflix dropped All Quiet on the Western Front. And so the game just exploded again. It had 50,000 players for like every night for about a week.
Wow.
And it's still hovering in like the 20,000 range every night right now, weeks later, which is pretty awesome.
Still 20,000 higher than Battlefield 2042.
I did a comparison video, and as you would expect, the night that Battlefield 1 was at 50,000 players, 2042 was at 3,700.
Oh my gosh.
On Steam. Again, Origin's probably 2 or 3 times that at least. But yeah.
Nice.
Does this mean maybe in a year Firestorm will come back?
Which can be just for you guys.
No, it'll be Battlefield just trying to rip off the DMZ ripoff of Tarkov and somehow doing a worse version than either of them.
How deep are we? I'm so confused.
Oh, do you remember that freaking loot menu thing they had for that game and when it initially came out? It was just like loot everywhere and you're just trying to like scavenge, trying to get the items.
Oh, for Firestorm?
Oh, that was really rough at the start. Like, it was just like, what am I doing?
And they patched it so that like it had better physics, so you could sort through things better. And they're like, we're gonna rework the whole menu. It's gonna be great. And instead, they added a patch that added some concrete towers and a field of flowers, and then never patched it again. But on the cross media, old game explosion, I also wanted to mention Cyberpunk because they released a huge patch for the game, added some new like mini DLCs, kind of like they had for The Witcher content, fixed a ton of bugs, and also announced a new paid DLC for next spring, the same week that the Cyberpunk anime launched on Netflix. Mm-hmm. And Cyberpunk hit 1 million active players on Steam that week.
That is pretty insane.
Early October, 1 million active players. And then it kept hitting a million active players for like 2 weeks almost, I think. It wasn't people just like buying it to check it out after the anime. Like people were playing it, and a million of them on Steam alone.
Yeah, I've been wanting to go back to it.
Players had no idea about that game. Like they didn't even know it existed. They're like, what?
Well, there's probably a lot of people who started playing it and then they hung it up because it was buggy or whatever else. There's people like me and Dave who didn't have that buggy of an experience and just pushed right through. But like, I want to go back to it because it probably feels like a pretty different game in some respects. And it's just been, I guess, almost 2 years since I've played it. That's what I keep saying about Red Dead Redemption 2. It's been 4 years since Red Dead Redemption 2, and I'm excited. Like, I want to go back and replay it, 4K maximum settings, ray tracing. I don't know if it has ray tracing, but like I'll be able to crank everything up, and I'm really looking forward to doing that. And I'm going to do it like I did The Witcher 3, where a really slow playthrough, like 6 months.
Say it slower.
No, that's fast.
Dave's 6 month playthrough would be a 6 year playthrough.
I'll have you know, Joel, that I have actually thought about playing Kingdom Come recently. I haven't, but I've thought about it.
Ah, man, I hate that you put that game. Like, you put a gem on the wayside. A gem.
To be fair,
By the wayside?
What did I say?
On the wayside? That's not a Joelism. That's just a very light misstep. You're forgiven.
Okay.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
To be fair to me, because let's be honest here, there's many games that I have put to the wayside. For Kingdom Come, it was that my quest lines broke the same time that Red Dead 2 launched. So that was
I wish you could kind of struggle through this part and just get it.
I am
done.
past that broken quest line now, but like it's I'm in the monastery now. It's just a slow part of the game.
Whenever the sequel to that game launches, oh man, nothing. That game is so good.
Which game?
Like I think Kingdom Come.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Whenever they launch that, like I think the only other game that would just like really destroy it and beat it for me would be Elder Scrolls. But that one was just like loved every second of that game.
Nice.
Yeah, this is the year that Deathloop 3 is coming out, Joel, so don't worry. This is the year they're going to announce it.
A game I'm really stoked to play is a game on Switch called Sports Story. They came out with a game like 5 or 6 years ago called Golf Story. It's really good. It's like, it looks like an old NES type game, but it is I don't think I've ever laughed so hard like for a video game ever in my entire life. Like I was laughing, like belly laughing in this game. But it takes itself so serious, but also not. Like you start as you literally start as a baby, and like your father's trying to teach you to play golf, and it's always like one day you'll be just as good as I am, or you'll be a champion or whatever. And then the whole story is about like the comeback kid. Like then you're really poor and you got to make your way to this golf course and like got to find a coach, but the coach doesn't want to. He's got to come out of retirement. That kind of. But it's so funny. But the game is really funny because it has kind of like the old Mario style golf, but it's all top down like Super NES looking. But you go from haunted mansions to literally like killing ghosts with your golf balls to like getting in fights with disc golfers. It's hilarious. Like it is so much fun, but it's maybe like a 10-hour game. But they were going to launch Sports Story, the sequel, about 2 years later, but then they decided, you know what, we're going to just expand this. So they've added like tennis, volleyball, like all sorts of just games, but it just looks huge. It looks like so much fun, but
Nice.
It's a great it works really well on the Switch as a game like that.
That's awesome. PSVR 2. Joel, is this you, I'm guessing?
Yeah, I pre-ordered one.
Oh, it's available for pre-order already?
So last week or a week before they sent an email saying, hey, pre-orders are coming out. If you sign up email, you might get possibly on the list. So me and my brothers, we signed up. I don't think Jeremiah got an email to get into, but me and Jonah did, and so we picked one up. So
nice.
I'm pretty stoked about that.
What are the main features of PSVR 2? I don't know jack about it.
So, well, it's 4 times as the quality over the first PSVR. So it's 4K. It has eye tracking now, so they can do really good foveated rendering, so they can like render it higher where you're looking as opposed to like your peripherals and stuff, because they did that before on the PSVR, but obviously if you look left or right you could tell. But But they have that. They have a sensor in. It's all like, you know, it's like the Vive or whatever. Like it's self-built-in tracking, so you don't have to do, you know, wires or the cameras and nothing like that. Which, thank goodness, that'll be great. The controllers look awesome because they have, again, force feedback, the same as the PS5. So like, if you played with the PS5, it's got really good feedback controller stuff. So like, that's gonna be really neat. And then it has actual force feedback in the top of your head, like, apparently. So like,
that's interesting.
Flying by or whatever, or like you could feel hell. I was like, that'll be interesting. Alien.
I don't get it.
Yeah, but everything all goes down to just one thin wire, as opposed to the other one. I think it was two, or something like that. It was thicker, so it still has a wire. But anyways, they made it.
Yeah, I'd be curious to hear how you think that compares to the Quest 2.
Yeah. Well, the interesting thing is the PSVR had a 90-degree viewing angle. This one now has 110, and I believe it's the most they've had in VR, so, or at least in consumer grade ones. So it should be pretty nice.
James, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Good. No, anyways, I'm pretty sure. At least when I looked it up when they announced it, it was higher than the Oculus Quest or whatever. So an Oculus Quest feels bigger than the PSVR.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And that felt great. So I was like, oh, sweet, dude. If it's even a little bit bigger, I'm like, with 4K, this is gonna be sick. I'm stoked.
James, did you have a PSVR?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, are you planning on getting the 2?
I don't know. We'll see. We have so many VR headsets in the house that it's literally.
Yeah, I'm guessing me and Dave are in the bucket of like, no, because we have the Quest 2 for the little bit of VR that our stomachs can handle.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'll play golf one of these days.
Oh, that's right.
I do want to get it, but the price is a little high for what it is. I feel like Sony was like really nervous, and then Meta came out and said their price, and they're like, oh, thank God.
What, is Meta announced a new one? Oh yeah, there's like the premium Meta VR headset. How much does that one cost?
Like $1,500.
Oh geez, okay.
So $550 is not that bad.
All right, and go ahead.
I was gonna say, I was like, yeah, I tend to get it. I mean, just I know I'm gonna play probably about 5 solid games, but like it's one of those things where I'm like, they don't come around that often for that kind of stuff. So I am excited if they bring in Half-Life Alyx onto it, which would be nice to replay it again. Because I did play it on PC with Dave let me borrow the Oculus, but my PC ran it okay. Like it would stutter quite a lot, and I could never find a setting, like no matter how low or anything, it just had stuttering. I think it was just my computer or CPU or something. So it'd be kind of cool to replay it again and not worry about that. But
yeah, nice. I still have not played Half-Life Alyx. It is installed as it has been for 8 monst.
Oh dang! And you have a headset, right?
Yeah, I've got a headset. I just have not played that many games.
You should at least just pop it on for 1 hour. You'll get sucked into it, because it is seriously like, it's mind-blowing VR compared to anything you've done in anything VR. Like it is so ahead of the game. Like it's pretty nice.
Normally at this time of year, like I would be getting excited because we're getting, nearer Christmas, and you have that couple weeks off of work where everyone burns their vacation time and everything. It looks like I'm going to be doing budget stuff that whole time. Yeah.
You put on VR and it's just you doing budget stuff, and you take it off and you're still doing budget stuff. Like, no.
And it's not
Excel spreadsheets all around me.
Right. It's not personal finance, which I really enjoy. It's enterprise finance, which it turns out I do not like. There's a lot more looking up account codes and pouring through Excel spreadsheets to figure out how much money do we need to use for printing. What formula am I going to use to calculate our printing expenditures for a fully remote office? Then I have to plan out what I'm giving all of you for raises. It's just, torture. Just let that awkwardly hang in the air.
I'm gonna start submitting my request for my copy paper that I use.
All right, Dave, was this next item yours?
I don't think so. I think that was my only.
No, I just put on there. I don't know when it's out, but I just saw
Lonnie's
great channel, Witcher Wild Hunt, the remaster or whatever, the upgrade, Gen X, whatever it is.
Did you about to say Gen Z? You almost said Gen Z.
Hexaquan.
What? No, the HyperQuan version. When is it? Like
Hexaquan.
It's December 14th. Lonnie Ching in the chat has confirmed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm curious if you can transfer save files, because I probably will install it on my PS5 too.
Yeah, I assume it would be the same save file. It's mostly like art assets and things, so I would assume they wouldn't make you get a new save. So the upgrade is free to anyone who's bought the game previously for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series, and PC. No word about the Switch. I'm guessing it's not getting the next gen update because it's not next gen.
Well, they did announce that they're going to add some content for the Switch version, though. I did see that.
Oh yeah.
But it adds ray tracing support, faster loading time on consoles, as well as a variety of mods integrated into the experience. So for me and Dave, it offers ray tracing.
And the new DLCs.
Oh yeah, the new DLCs. There's like armor based on the Witcher series, right? What else is there?
I thought they were actually upgrading some of the animations too, of actually like some of the combat. Like they're actually making him walk a little less like tank-like. I remember reading that in the blog like a year or so ago. Like, because that was one of the things they were wanting to upgrade, not just graphics and stuff, but actually improve the animation. Because I always thought he just looked really stupid wonky. Like it was just one motion. There was never like a, you know what I mean? Like if you think of like Uncharted stuff like that, you can walk around.
It definitely was not as good.
Yeah. It's not bad. I'm just saying it'd be kind of cool if they. I think the game would feel more like a fresh new game if they added a little bit of tweaking to that. That'd be cool, but I don't know.
Yeah. And then The Witcher 1 is getting remade. CD Projekt Red has announced. Joel, what do you know about this?
Other than that, but that is exciting because I was like, I got pretty far. I got to some, because back when I played it, you couldn't change the difficulty midway. Like, once you started,
I remember that.
Stuck with that. And so I got to a boss fight, and now I think after playing all the Dark Souls games, I think I could, like, if I could go back to that save file, I bet I could probably get through it. But at that time, I was a little bitch, and I couldn't change the difficulty. So I was like, I just could not. Like, I got to a part where I was like, it was going really great, and all of a sudden, I just had no health, and I was like, crap. How do I beat this guy? It was by some dude by a barn. That's all I remember. So,
some dude by a barn.
Yeah, some guy beat me out beside a barn.
I'm sorry, he did what?
You heard what he said.
Interesting. James, did you ever beat The Witcher 1?
I didn't. I put a bunch of hours into it, and I don't know if I got to a point where I couldn't figure out what to do next, but I just kind of stopped.
Yeah. Do you both of you think you're going to replay it probably if they remake it?
I'm going to definitely attempt. Like, if the Knights of the Old Republic remake doesn't come out around the same time.
Hasn't that been canceled?
Wait, what? Was it canceled?
It's been put on according to...
Were you not on the podcast when we talked about that? I'm sorry, Joel. I'm sorry. It's been paused indefinitely as of August this year.
Hey, you know what? I have one good thing to say about Star Wars. Andor is really good.
I hear that. We've watched 2 episodes so far. I really like it. It feels a little bit like the other Star Wars shows, but then it also just feels that step in quality higher where it's like a real TV show, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
it gets better.
Nice.
Yeah, it really does get better. We're still on. We just finished episode, I think 7 or something like that. So we're excited to watch more. But it's interesting because it's kind of like even like when the animated series, you'd get like 3-episode arcs, and then another 3-episode arcs, and that's kind of how the show seems to be. But it's continuing. But it's fascinating because I think with all the other shows, they've always felt like, in a way, kind of how even the Marvel Disney shows are. They just feel like you're watching it for that end tease of, hey, then this character's going to show. Like it almost doesn't feel like you're just watching just the show on its own, just for the sake of the story here. Yeah. They always feel like they're just like, I'm making this show so that you can want to watch the next show. Like I think it's cool to have them connected, but it's almost like they don't feel as like rock solid. Like, I just want to watch your movie because your story sounds interesting, and then it's exciting to have a little tease of like, oh, how we're gonna probably connect to the next one. But anyways, Andor just kind of feels like you're just not worrying about like cameos and crap. Like, it's just like, this is kind of interesting story, like, and pretty tense in the filmmakings, and it's just, thank God they're not filming in that darn CGI room every shot. It
does suck that the volume, like, it worked so well in The Mandalorian at first that they were like, oh, that solves all of our problems forever. Like, this is great.
and you could tell why it worked, at least for the first, maybe at least half of the first season, like, really well, is because you're introducing a brooding, slow character, you know what I mean? That's like shifty eye, you know what I mean? Like you're not doing much. But then when you realize, okay, like we're now like 8 episodes in and every shot is slow zoom forward, slow zoom backwards, slow zoom. Like you can tell, like you can't have that dynamic camera, like you can move in or do,
Right.
you know, like it just doesn't exist. So they do use it on Andor, like for some of the like indoor scenes and stuff like that. But like, honestly, like you can't tell quite like really well at all. Like it's hard to
It's like the Batman, where they used it so well in the Batman that I didn't know that they had used it until I read some stuff later. I was like, oh, well, that's why like the sunset is perfect for every shot where they're on a roof. I knew they were like faking that somehow, but I figured it was just like green screen or whatever. But yeah, that's awesome.
I'm like legit.
My major complaint about the show is that the political aspect of it is a little dragging.
Like the storyline, I haven't watched enough to see.
There's a lot of them sitting around having meetings type thing, which is kind of frustrating.
Everybody's gonna love this show.
I guess to me, like the bar has been lower where like the dialogue is like really well written, at least, that I'm more excited. Like that feels more action than the entirety of Boba Fett and Obi-Wan, like entirely. Like that's more serious and like threatening, at least to me. But it is kind of like, it feels a little bit like a Battlestar Galactica, like the newer one, mixed with Star Wars. Like it doesn't feel 100% like you're watching Star Wars. Like,
right.
I don't know.
I also like that they.
No, yeah, but it's a little different, but it's good.
From the 2 episodes I've seen, I like that it isn't as squeaky clean as most of Star Wars is. I think that's been a bad thing for Star Wars, is Disney's family friendly reputation that they try to, curate, because some of the stuff that's happened in the first couple episodes, I'm like, okay, this feels a lot more like the actual world this would be in. Like, this is not that it needs to be bad and dark just because every TV show is dark these days, but appropriately dark, of like, what would the underbelly of a city actually be like? Not the super sanitized
this is the first
version.
show that Joyce wanted to watch. Like she won't even watch the others. Like I'll show her a little bit and she's like, I can't even handle it.
Well, to be fair, Joel, is that because of the show or because she'd have to be sitting next to you experiencing the show, watching it?
No, she just like can't. She's like wants to vomit at the dialogue.
Does it make you proud as a husband? You're like, I have poisoned her so thoroughly that like the earth is salted. She can't even look at it. She's crying when it comes on. She hates it. She hates it.
No, well, she did say this show feels like what she was expecting for Boba Fett. Like watching it, like this is the mood I was kind of expecting for that, or even Mandalorian. Honestly, like just when you go around a bounty hunter, it's like I was kind of expecting. So I'm like, this is the show I was least excited about completely. So it was a huge twist. Like really, this is literally my favorite show they've done. Honestly, probably best Star Wars they've done entirely, outside of maybe Rogue One.
Wow, that's awesome.
I mean, I miss like the Force being the main focus of everything. I mean, I love the Jedi and Sith and everything, but the writing in this is so much better than the J.J. Abrams way of doing dialogue, where it's like you have to overly explain everything, like Kylo Ren, but that's not your real name, is it?
Yeah.
Or under-explain, like, somehow Palpatine returned. Moving on.
I don't know how you balance to do both at the same time. First, everybody knows the secret Sith cloning stuff.
What really sucks is like when things get turned into a meme, it kind of makes you forget that like how it was originally, before it got corrupted by the internet. And I bet when they originally wrote that and shot, well, I guess they didn't shoot anything. When they made those graphics on the computer and they put them up, they're probably like, oh, this is foreboding. Like, this is some heavy stuff. And the internet just ran with it.
So when I started cloning.
Sitting next to Joel in that movie, like I had already read a lot of the spoilers, so I was like, just like, like you're like a little kid that keeps looking at their parent, like waiting for like them to get a reaction from them.
See, I couldn't do that because I couldn't look at Joel for his reaction because his mom was sitting in between us offering me snacks the whole time. I could hear you and Joel, though. I could hear the hate whispering. Also salting the earth.
The hate whispering, yeah, it was. Oh, man, I felt physical pain.
The rest of us did. The rest of us did by proxy.
I know. Yeah. Sorry about that.
You need to watch Tales of the Jedi, though, Joel.
Yeah, I'll give that
The
a shot.
Ashoka stuff isn't that great, but I really like the Count Dooku. Like, they're not like that in depth, but it's just cool to see that other side of everything.
Oh man. Every time you say Dooku, I can just hear James saying it. I think one time on the podcast, go, Dooku.
It is now mail time.
Mail time. Whoa, we have mail?
Yeah, you can write into casualshenanigans@gmail.com to be a part of the show, just like a weird stranger did. She wrote in just to say, hey, Shenanipeeps, sincerely, a weird stranger. So, hey, Beck, thank you for writing in.
If people are writing in, maybe we should check our Patreon.
We got $2.36 from it this month.
Awesome.
I'd have to go check.
Are they still alive?
I think it is a couple dead people, unfortunately. Well, see, my personal Patreon that I pay into people, like some of them, it's just be too much work to log in and cancel. You know what I'm saying? I keep forgetting about it. And then every couple months I see PayPal is like, you paid $4. And I'm like, oh, shoot, I still have a couple Patreons going. So, yeah, I don't know.
Right into Casual Shenanigans. Casual Shenaniga, right? No, that's the Twitter.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, we have that.
Casual Shenanigans.
Right in. How old are you now? How long have you been listening to this podcast? Like, hey, maybe we'll have the longest running podcast.
Ancient.
The least amount of episodes. That'd be amazing.
Well, I mean, guys, do you know that like we're over 10 years now?
What? No. Really?
Yeah. Or
When did you start Norman?
we are right at 10 years. Because we started it. We started it the first winter.
Right, 2012.
It was the first winter I was in the camper, and we moved in June in 2012. So it was like right now, 10 years ago.
Man,
we were. Yeah. Audio listeners, Joel's eyes are very wide, and he's having a little bit of a moment right now.
You guys remember when we were young, mostly young, and we could just dump 12 hours into a session of DayZ every day of the week?
Yeah.
I still remember that first time I was like, Dave, you got to play this game. And I got home before him. And so he was just like so jealous and angry that I was like looting and like crawling around the world of DayZ before him.
Remember how glitchy the servers were that first night, Joel? Like it was like playing a haunted game because there were so many glitches, like sound glitches everywhere. And
the cans of soda going like just ripping in your ears.
How long?
Zombie grunts like in the woods just for no reason.
How long had you guys been friends by that point?
In 2012?
Yeah.
6 months.
Okay. Yeah, it wasn't very long, was it?
It had been 6 months since we became friends, and 4 months since Joel asked me to help with Norman.
So, Joel, we would have been friends for 7 years at that point.
Nice.
Wow.
Man.
17 years. I bet if we go back and look at that old episode, it's...
Wait, did you say 17 years?
Yeah, you guys have been friends for 17 years, right?
10 years. Yep.
Yeah. So in the chat, we have a couple people. Noah says he started at age 15. He is 24 now. And
Wow.
Ben, the Amish man, started in the middle of undergrad. He was around episode 9. He searched for DayZ podcasts, and we were the only one who came up. We were ahead of the curve on that one.
Wow.
We were the entire group.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, man. Lonnie says he's 20 now. He listened to the last podcast live when he was 14, when Kingdom Come Deliverance came out. That's 6 years old.
No.
Yeah.
No, there's no way. That's 2018.
It must have been like maybe an early Kingdom Come video.
Oh, yeah. Hold on.
Yeah, I'm checking right now.
We're all check together.
February 2018 was
Okay.
when it came out.
Maybe 7 years, 8 years.
Yeah, maybe.
But
Well-
it was a good while until they released it because
There were lots of teases because there was a Kickstarter too, wasn't there originally?
Oh, there was lots of teases.
Oh, okay.
Lots of teases.
Okay.
Yeah, there was.
But yeah.
Good.
So 10 years. We're averaging 24 episodes a year, boys. Not bad.
Hey, not bad.
That
Might be
average.
forward weighted a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. This year we've been averaging 10 episodes a year, 10 or 11. Still a good time. All right. It is now time for 90 Seconds with Joel, a part of the podcast where Joel has 2 stories averaging 45 seconds apiece. All right, Joel, take it away.
Okay, the first story is I started doing a scavenger hunt for my brothers, and then my cousin joined in, and then my sister joined in, and
these are all adults, for the record.
Yeah, these are all adults. So what?
And for the record, Joel still doesn't have time to hang out with us because he's too busy going from making a documentary
going out every night
to making it a every night scavenger hunting. How do you have the time for this?
Dude, it's called middle of the night, bro. Okay, so
you're a father.
I know, it's the only time I can do stuff right now. So in the middle of the night, and on Google Earth, I would just search around my hometown and find good places to hide stuff. So my brother was having a rough time, and I was like, you know what, he just needs like an adventure. So I just came up with like this elaborate like scavenger hunt. And so we came up with a group chat, and basically I will just drop a clue at any time. And again, you don't have to go for it, but like everyone knows there's a clue, so everyone's kind of like wants to beat you to it. So I would go out and like ford streams and rivers and like hide clues on little islands and stuff. And so I hid 25 items over a month. And so I would like drop a clue, and I would have like kind of clues that would be like immunity idols from like Survivor that would gain you powers to like delay someone 5 minutes or give you a 10-minute head start or things like that, or like a really obvious hint. And so my brother, my sister, everyone started joining. They really loved it. So I was like, but initially I wanted to have this idea of like, I wanted like the end one to be like epic, where you like actually have to like raft out to an island and stuff. Cause my brothers always wanted to be a survivor. So we're actually doing that. So like next week they're gonna come over. I've built, I'll just show you. I'll just show you this. It's so ridiculous. Let me turn off my portrait mode here.
Joel is going to the back of his room. He's picking something off the floor.
See this?
It is a piece of plywood with 2 stakes sticking up off of them with some flags.
So I built at the end of Survivor, like basically this flag, there'll be a rope at the top and you have to burn it, and then it'll flick up to the top once you burn the rope through.
Wow.
Oh, I built 4 of them, and we're gonna have
4 of them.
So I built 4.
Wait, hold on.
I'm starting to think Joel just doesn't want to hang out. That's the conclusion I'm coming to. Joel's like, so anyway, after I built the fort.
Late at night.
Okay, so you're going out like you're fording streams in the middle of the night?
Yeah, dude. Yes.
Joel, you're a father.
I literally Joel will go to bed. I put Matthew down, and I'm like, all right, I've got a few hours. I'm gonna go out and go hide some stuff. I've gone into the middle of golf courses, like found like these little like old like dilapidated buildings, and like hid stuff in like really high places. I went down like across bridges and like on the outside of them, but just not far, but just enough where it, like each one, all you have to give a little bit of it. Like it's got to be a little bit scary, a little bit like awkward. But it has been a blast.
I'm gonna see you on the news.
Yeah, Joel. People get hurt doing this.
Well, this is why you guys aren't a part of my scavenging hunt.
You're not wrong.
So anyways, I put 6 out as the last bit of the hunt, and then the 7th one was one treasure chest up on a mountain that basically everyone gets a chance, and there's 4 scrolls in it. If you get one of the scrolls, you're part of the final 4. So their next challenge, who made it into the final 4, get to do the fire making challenge. Whoever burns it first gets to choose their teammate, and whoever loses gets to have a slight advantage of time. So you either get to choose the player you want to play with, because the final thing is going to be like, it's going to be a park nearby. We're going to have them do a relay race. Then I bought these puzzle boxes that have keys inside, so they have to like unlock a puzzle box. Then you have to go untie knots to get your raft, then get your paddles, and then they're going to paddle over to a nearby little island like 100 feet away. And then that's where 3 scrolls are going to be, and then I'll whittle it down to 3 people, and then we'll have our tribal council, and they're going to have to debate on who played the game the best over the past month. So yeah, it's awesome.
So how are you timing them, like burning the thing? Do they all have to get together at the same time, or do they just like film themselves and send it to you?
No, they'll all be over here at the same time. So I'm gonna set up like.
How do you get your adult siblings and cousin to all be one place? They all have kids too, and they're gonna be somewhere at the same time for a scavenger hunt?
Yeah, it's called fun. It's called, hey, I'm gonna like go explore in the middle of the night. It's just fun.
I'm glad you have that relationship with your siblings.
Scavenger hunt?
Yes, I've done a scavenger hunt. No, Joel, the scavenger hunt's super cool. I'm in awe. I'm not judging you. I'm in awe where you're like, you wait to tell us until you're like, yeah, so anyway, for the last month, I've been running this scavenger hunt with my adult siblings where they're fording streams in the middle of the night to collect 25 clues that I've hidden around, and then you got to climb to the top of a mountain. And I'm like, Joel, I just wanted to go get lunch with you. And you're like, so anyway, so at the top of the mountain, there's a chest with scrolls in it.
That's not all you've done recently.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm doing at 1 o'clock in the morning? I'm loading the dishwasher before bed.
So like the other night to hide the 7 items, I was like, I keep a backpack in my car that has water, food, it has a change of clothes, and then all my like scavenging supplies, lock boxes, little bags and stuff like that, and like notes and everything.
But I'm gonna bet it does not include a phone charger, does it?
No. It's been awesome. Like, I've really enjoyed it because I was like, I've needed to do a little bit of adventure. I finished the documentary. Like, we're working on now distribution, stuff like that. But like, I was telling my brother, I was like, everything you guys have done, like, I literally did every single one of it. I crossed every stream. I did, like, so I've kind of been enjoying it, just getting out and doing something different. But I'll get back at like midnight and I'm like, my feet are like sopping wet and everything. And so like I hid one out in a river where I like went out on a tree that was like fallen in.
Joel, you're a father.
Do you know, like, this is not like raging rapids. This is like swimming in a river, easy. Like
at night, alone with when your wife's asleep. Joel, you're a Boy Scout. You know the rules. None of the rules are leave at night while your wife is asleep. Don't charge your phone. Go out to a stream in the dark and then see what happens. That's not the rules.
So me and Ben, we're going Saturday, and we're gonna go cross the river and hide the items on the island together and stuff. So we're gonna go check it out.
That's what they call it these days.
Anyway, but here's the second story in 45 seconds. All of this was kind of like a build up to something I've always wanted to do. We followed a channel called GeoWizard, and he does these amazing videos called straight line missions, where he basically just came up with this idea of like, hey, I've always wanted to cross a country, but has anyone ever done it in an exact straight line? And so he found a section of it which was like maybe 14 miles, and he crossed it all in a straight line. But the videos, seriously, please look them up. They're the most entertaining videos I've ever watched on YouTube, because it's just so fascinating, because like the strict rules of like, you try to stay as close as possible. So you have like, if you deviate 50 feet, then you get a lower rank. So like the closer you could stay on it, the better. But it's one of those things where like you go over whatever the hill it is, or if there's a fence, well, you got to go over the fence, or you got to find a way through or something like that. So I've always wanted to do one. So I was like, me and Eric and Giancarlo, we love watching their shows, his videos. So we're like, let's see if we can cross our own town doing that. So we found a straight line. We've been talking for about 1.5 years. And so I was like, let's just do it. Let's just finally do it. So I planned a route out. And then I actually, in those rafts I was talking about, we stowed those rafts like right near the end. So we hiked 6.8 miles, which turned out to be 8.2 miles because of the up and down and the zigzagging. It's really hard to stay exactly on a line, especially on a curve and everything. But we went across like train tracks and like swamps, like between like trash dumps and everything. But then we pumped up the rafts and we floated down the river, and my brother picked us up, and
that's awesome.
It was so much fun. And so I'm putting together a video, and it's hilarious. But it's just funny because it's like you go up to like, oh, now we got to cross a whole bunch of freaking random logs. So like you're always on like a random obstacle course. And again, I think we stayed on. I think we had a platinum run according to the website.
Yes. Like, how do they give you a score? How does that work?
If you stay within 50 feet, I think on there is 25 meters. So I think it's 50 feet or 75 feet. I think might even be 75 feet within the line. That's a platinum run.
I know, so, but like, is it a website that's tracking you?
No. So what I did is I took on Google Earth, you create a line, and then you export it, and I imported it into a handheld GPS that I bought. And so we use that to stay within the screen. So on the map, you can see it within 30 feet. So we just made sure the arrow was always within 30 feet.
You bought a handheld GPS just for this?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That's cool.
It was seriously one of the most fun things I've ever done. I was telling a guy just the other night at my workout, he was like, dude, I've kind of heard of that. And he's like, holy crap, I want to do that. So
I remember when I got my first handheld GPS for Christmas, many years ago. I was probably like 10, and on hiking trips after that, or like camping trips and stuff, me and a friend, we would go out, we'd put the GPS in our backpack, go out, and then hike around for a bit, and then turn it on to come back. And like, it was just, we'll wander around, see what there is. And you never had to worry about like, oh, are we going to get lost or something? Cause then you just flip it on. And as long as you didn't like do something stupid, like cross a river that you don't know where it goes or whatever, you knew that you were going to be able to get back to where you were going. I don't know. I remember when that was just like a crazy feature, and now everyone's phone has that.
Yeah.
And we would have used our phones. It's just, it just eats up battery having it on all the time. So obviously the GPS, it was a little tough because, again, like, at least I didn't pay that very much for mine, but I got one that I knew, like, on this forum that said, hey, this would work with importing a line and everything. But like, since the frames per second on, like, it would update, it would be like every 3 seconds, I guess, So like, if you happen to look back and say something, the arrow would kind of shift that way. It wouldn't, like an iPhone, you keep moving forward, even though your iPhone's turned left, it still knows you're going this way, right? But on the GPS, it's like the arrow, so you're kind of like, where is it? So you kind of lose it a little bit. But yeah, it was really fun.
Nice. Yeah, I look forward to seeing that video and watching the documentary. Well, James, I believe you got to go pretty soon here, right?
Yes, I do.
Okay, well, thank you everybody for coming out and being a part of the show. Anything else we want to mention real quick before we go? All right, great. Well, thank you everyone for coming.
Don't be afraid of rivers. Don't be afraid of rivers or streams, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, but you don't have to be afraid, but you also can be smart about them. That's all I'm saying. I like, Joel, did you see the hike that I went on in Utah? Don't talk to me about dangerous hikes, okay? Did you see those videos?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, all right. So don't talk to me about dangerous hikes. All I'm saying is leaving your wife and child in the middle of the night to go out to, like, you just know, like, that's not the Boy Scout way.
I mean, I'm not. Ranger Dave's got some words for this, but I'm just gonna hold back.
Hey, I have life jackets, so we were all prepared.
Did you have the life jacket?
Yeah. Well, no, I'm talking about, like, this is like a tree branch that just is in the water a little bit. It's not like raging rapids.
Okay.
This is like 3 feet deep sections.
I apologize. I regret saying anything.
I don't.
You can also tweet at casualshenanigans as long as Twitter is up and running. At this rate, it may be another month or so before it completely implodes. And of course, leave a comment on YouTube if you want to be a part of the conversation. So thanks you everybody for coming out. And James, until next time, what should people do?
Stay casual.